Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together. We all wanna make it better, yeah. Derrick Jones, the host, your relationship coach. Thank you all for tuning in. Relationship gumbo, ayy.
My apologies, guys. I think the audio wasn't working for a second. Verify that you can hear me now. My mistake. Ladies and gentlemen in the comments, verify that you can hear me. Okay, cool. It sometimes it resets where the microphone is located, so that's my bad. So let's start all over from scratch, y'all. My name is Coach Derrick. I am your certified relationship coach, your certified self-healing coach. And here at Relationship Gumbo, I help you heal first so that you can reveal the best version of yourself in your dating relationships and marriage or your situationship or your I don't know which ship I'm on. All of them. I help you with all of them. I don't condone them all, but I help you get through. So now that we're here and we live and the microphone is working, let's talk about trauma bonds, y'all. That's tonight's topic. Trauma bonds. Are you in one? Have you been in several? Have all of your relationships been trauma bonds? Do you even know what it is? We going deep, y'all, because I don't like to do surface stuff. We gonna get it in. Those of you who have followed me, you've heard this before. So if you heard this before and you still trauma bonded, we gotta have a discussion on the side because you ain't listening to me. We gotta, come on, y'all. We gotta do better. So this is how this works. And you will notice a theme. Now that I am your healing coach, you're going to notice a theme across most of my broadcasts, and it's going to always, most of the time, go back to your childhood wounds, childhood trauma, your inner child, the little girl and the little boy inside of you. It informs who we picked because we were modeled certain things that we internalized, and now it resurfaces as an adult. Okay, so Diane may be a little behind. Everybody else can hear me though, right? Because I'm going to keep going. She may be delayed. Okay, cool. So let's talk about how these trauma bonds happen, right? Because some of us may be in one right now and don't know that that's what it is. So when we're out dating, when we're in relationships and we make these decisions, we attach to certain people for different reasons, right? So for those of you guys who are familiar with Relationship Gumbo coaching, we're going to tap into two of the workshops, one of them being shadow work and one of them going to be attachment styles. And your trauma bonds are highly attached to your attachment styles, right? And we'll talk about the workshops and everything at the commercial break in the middle. So in layman's terms, the things that we are dealing with traumatically, whether it's relationship hurt, whether it's things that happened in your childhood, you will either consciously or subconsciously or both seek out things that the inner child needs. And everything that inner child needs isn't always happy. Sometimes it's dysfunctional. Sometimes it's abusive. Sometimes it's toxic. because it wants to find comfort in familiarity, right? This is why we have to identify the inner child and reparent that child and understand what its motives are and where it comes from so that we can go out here and make better decisions, right? So when you are seeking something to make that trauma feel better, you're going to seek out people that sometimes represent things that you've seen growing up. They may mimic your mom. They may mimic your dad. They may mimic a combination of the two. And sometimes mimicking what you saw as a child is not healthy, but we seek it out anyway. No matter how well we're doing in life, no matter how well adjusted and smart we are, that thing is always there. That train ain't never late. Your decisions keep ending up with the same results and you don't understand why. You go get the help and you still keep doing it, right? So if we're talking about attachment styles, these would be not secure, but insecure attachments, right? So we're talking about anxious attachments, avoidant attachments, and disorganized or fearful attachments, right? All of those mean that there's some kind of insecurity in there. Most of those insecurities will come from your childhood, right? So now let's bring it full circle. So now we're going out to date, right? And let's say I have issues with abandonment, right? Now, abandonment could mean maybe a parent was missing or didn't show up like they were supposed to. Maybe both parents are in the home, but they just not giving you the attention that you need, right? As a baby, as a kid. So now you're going to seek out something that feels familiar, right? So you're going to seek out something that requires you to chase them, requires you to pull them in so they don't leave you, right? A healed person doesn't need to be chased. So you're going to find someone that has their own issues, if you will, to meet the requirements of that inner child. Because when that inner child feels like its needs are met, even if it's dysfunctional, it makes the conscious version of you feel like you found something that's happy. Isn't it weird how that works? Even the dysfunction tricks you into thinking that you are being loved properly. Let's breathe. So now, when you go outside without having healthy boundaries, without having discernment or standards, you're really just feeding the need of the inner child, which means you're going to probably pick horribly. And you won't realize it until you're already in it. Why? I told y'all we going under the hood. This should be a doggone masterclass I'm about to do tonight, but y'all getting it for free today. So pay attention. Why does it take until you're already in love and you're already in a relationship to realize that something's off? Because most of the time, your inner child, your triggers don't come up until you're in a situation that triggers it, that taps into it. So you may not realize that you're getting triggered until you get into that first argument. But you're in the honeymoon stage, so that argument might not come for months and months and months and months. So you think everything is cool until you have that conflict. Now you're getting triggered. And the inner child is like, this is why we came. This is familiar. Thank you. And so because of that, and because of who you've become to rely on feeding that inner child, you're not going to leave. Why, Coach Derek? Because it's familiar. It's how your internal body feels like love is supposed to be because that's what you saw. Now, it doesn't mean that we all will mimic what we saw. Some of us don't want to be like that, so we run the other way. Right? So we're going to talk about that in a minute. So let that marinate for a minute. A lot of us are seeking out things subconsciously, which means you don't even realize it until it's too late, to make the inner child feel better. So if that inner child has an abandonment wound, it feels better to chase somebody and grab them and make sure they don't leave. So what does that look like? You might have turned into a people pleaser. You might be doing too much too soon. You might be letting them have access to things too soon to make sure that you love them into staying. Because what if they leave? What if they leave? And we're not talking about 2-year relationship. We're talking about 2 weeks. What if they leave? Where does that anxiety come from after 2 weeks? Why can't you let go? And you know it doesn't feel good. It's because the inner child is happy. Got one. Can't let them go. We feel good now. Don't matter who it is. Now, a person who sees your behavior may feel a little bit too much for them, right? Pay attention to what I'm doing right now. Please pay attention. It might be a little overbearing for them. So it's going to make them try to detach a little bit because it's getting too much too soon. Why are you doing all that? So what do you have to do? You got to make them stay. You got to do whatever it takes to make sure they don't go anywhere. Because the person who's detached from you also knows that they want someone, they're going to come back, they're going to run, they're going to come back, they're going to run, they're going to come back, they're going to run, and you are going to be in a constant state of anxiety of trying to figure out how you can keep them to stay. And they are going to be in a constant state of anxiety because now they are being triggered with their own childhood wounds from the stuff that you're doing. This is why they call it a trauma bond. Both childhood traumas are feeding off of each other. But here's the plot twist, y'all. It feels good when you connect to somebody that's feeding that little kid. It feels good. But I heard so does heroin, right? Like let's breathe. Let's all breathe in unison. Everything that feel good ain't good for you. We turning off all of the internal and external sensors to alarm us that something's wrong to feel good. Because feeling good means you don't have to work on it. Got one. We happy now. We're not gonna worry that they don't respect my boundaries and they treat me a certain way. I still have to have them. Another way to kind of identify parts of your trauma bond is if you have what they call opposing conflict strategies that you are unwilling to compromise on because you're mimicking what was modeled to you. It's part of your frame now. It's what you would say, this is who I am. You don't want to compromise the conflict. You got to stand your dysfunctional ground. You're not trying to hear what they're trying to say. You got to get it out in the way that you know how to do it. So some people want to grab, some people want to run, and y'all are going to be doing this dance forever until, or if you choose to, you may need a third party to help you out with this because it's almost like translating like Rosetta Stone. Like you got to speak each other's, or at least understand. I won't say you need to speak each other's language, but you got to understand each other. Or those two inner child are going to be fighting at the playground all the time. You're going to be like two little kids trying to get their point across. That's your life now. Because you're not going to leave. Why? Because you have an anxious attachment style. You can't leave. Think about it. This happens every day. We're going deeper. We're going deeper. It's still early. Y'all ready? Some of us have what they call a mother wound or a father wound. This doesn't mean the parent is absent. This means that parent, whether knowingly or unknowingly, damaged you, right? This is why childhood wounds don't always look egregious, but they damage you, right? Sometimes you have a parent who may have narcissistic tendencies that would create a mother or father wound where they want everything their way, even if you have they don't want to hear what you stay in a child's place. You do not get to have a voice or a mind. Do what I say. Shut up. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to be unhappy. So that little kid grows up into potentially this person. Yes, dear, whatever you say, you're the boss. Let me do everything to make sure you're happy. I'm not going to say anything. Let me be quiet. Are you okay? Are you good? Don't go nowhere. I want you to stay here. Please, I got you. No, I'll fix it. Don't just sit there. Don't do anything. I got it. Let me make sure you're good. I'll worry about me last. Because the criticism that you got as a kid turned you into a people pleaser. So it shows up in your relationships. And in our mind, we think if we do enough, they'll love me more and they won't leave. Here comes the plot twist. The need to make, I'm going to say this real slow, your partner love you more could come from the fact that you needed your parent to acknowledge you and love you more. You will always seek it out. Let's breathe. Most of us don't realize this until we sit down and we start looking back and looking at how we showed up. And when you cross-reference that to your childhood, it's a very high percentage that it looks similar. But it doesn't register in our conscious mind because we have conditioned ourselves to function in society despite it. We push it down into our subconscious. Because if it kept firing off, we wouldn't be productive in society. We'd have anxiety all the time. We wouldn't be able to, we'd have to deal with it. And who wants to do that? We would have to deal with it. So we create a life that functions. We create a life that makes our parents happy. We create a life that makes us feel good. We seek out people to make us feel good so we don't have to think about it. We'll worry about getting hurt later, but right now, it feels good. We convince ourselves that we can live a life without emotion to keep ourselves safe, but they just keep bubbling up, don't they? You didn't have as much control as you thought you did. Then boom, you're in another situation. You didn't even realize it. Damn. How did I get here? Well, now you know. There's a part of you that needed the attachment. Let me say this again. There's a part of you that needed the attachment. You know who needs attachment more than anyone? Babies. Toddlers. the little version of you that never got it still there. Ooh, when we learn these things, our lives change because you can't unsee it now that you know it. And even sometimes when we know it, we still don't want to deal with it. So we keep picking the same way. It's not you. It's the little kid. Oh, the little kid. You've been doing this for 50 years. Can you calm down, son? I know you're there now. So when you have these mother wounds and father wounds and some of us have parents that are just wholly narcissistic and it's all about them and you get pushed down. That little kid that gets pushed down didn't forget. But you still had to make your parent happy. You still was responsible for your parents' emotions. You still had to grow up and be the woman or the man of the house because they said so. You carry it with you. And a lot of times when we seek our partners, you'll find a lot of men looking for mommies and a lot of women looking for daddies. And some are looking for both. When you choose your partner, it's a product of that experience. It's not a product of that partner just being a horrible person. It's a part of us that needed them to be horrible because it looks familiar. Breathe. So this isn't an indictment on how you would choose forever because now that we know, now that we can call a thing, we can work on it now. And most of you don't know how. And that's where I come in. Now I can come in and help you with a lot of this, but some of y'all been through some things that may require an actual therapist. But I can help you identify the hell out of some things. And that's why you come to Relationship Gumbo Coaching to try to help you kind of shake yourself a little bit and say, what the hell am I doing? Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep picking like this? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with you is that you have not looked at yourself enough to know that the conscious part of you that's well adjusted and trying to live life and doing what you got to do isn't the part of you that's picking your dates. It never was. Because this is what we say, right? This is what we say. Why would this person do this to me if I did everything I was supposed to do as a wife, as a husband, as a girlfriend? I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Put a 1 in the comments if you ever said that. Why would they do this to me when I did everything I was supposed to do? Right? But the larger conversation is, it didn't matter how good you were. You're bonded by trauma. Didn't matter how good you were, no matter what you did, they're connected to you for another reason other than the things that you can list. Right? What if the person you're with is bonded with you because they need to be in control? It don't matter how many dishes you wash, don't matter how much you sleep with them. They're in there because they need to control you. So it don't matter, right? They need to be with you because they need something dysfunctional to make them feel love. So all the good stuff you do don't matter. It's when you have the arguments that feeds their inner child. So it doesn't matter. And that bad treatment that you get doesn't make you run. You got to ask yourself, why didn't I run? That's the part in a point where you start to find that you need to heal from things. See, some of us become people pleasers so much that we get so used to the pain that we think it's normal and we never leave. And we'll say things like this to ourselves. If I leave them, will I ever find somebody else? If I leave them, what if the person I get next is worse? At least I know what I'm dealing with here. I might as well stay. These are statements that are void of self-love and self-worth, and self-esteem. Some of y'all went into the relationship with it and came out without it. I know. Right? Think about it. So this is the healing work, right? If you could look back at your last relationship and you could say that you stayed too long, if you could say that things hurt you, maybe you were the person doing the hurting, maybe both of y'all was, maybe it was just one, right? And you could sit back and you could say, I stayed. Why? Then you go through and you say, okay, this was the point where I felt like it wasn't what I wanted. What was it about me that made me ignore the signs? Right? Here's a little preview to the workshop that y'all gonna get. Cause y'all gonna get the workshops. Then you go back to who you were before you met them. Right? This is the honesty that you need to be with yourself. What was my state of mind before I met them? Was I desperate? Was I lonely? Did I feel the need to attach to someone because society says I need to have someone? Was it family pressure? Did you just need a companion, a warm body next to you because you felt like you couldn't be by yourself? Who were you? Because who you were before you met them, watch how the math goes. Who you were before you met them informs why you chose them. That person that was there before you met them is the same person that chose not to advocate for you when things didn't go right, that made you be quiet, that made you shut up and choose your battles so it could be peaceful. 2 years later, you stuck. Now you got to make it work. You got to make it look good because now you got time served. I done put too much into this thing to leave now. They done got too much of me. I can't leave. Well, what if I leave? How are they going to survive without me? Your trauma story starts before you met them. Your trauma starts before you met the last three. This is the work. And you can't do the work by listening to a single podcast or 10. You're going to have to get help. Because we're talking about not just self-awareness, but changing habits. Your habits will haunt you forever because you won't take the time to change them. Because I just did a live on TikTok about this, about knowing too much. You know everything about yourself, but you still keep doing it because you didn't do the habit changing work. But if somebody asks you what was wrong, you can roll out a whole novel about what's wrong and why you did it. But then as soon as you start dating somebody, it just shuts off. We got work to do, y'all. It can be course corrected. with help. And you will convince yourself that you can do it by yourself, but you don't have a history of any improvement. So you can't do it yet. Because you can't learn the why and not do the how. Most of y'all know the why, but you haven't started on the how. How do I get through this? How do I do better? How do I change? That's the scary part. Don't want to do that. But you should. Even if you never found your mate, you should want to be better. And I know I say this a lot. Y'all tired of me saying this, but one day y'all gonna listen to me. So when you come from, just to repeat, a household where you didn't have a voice, and a lot of us grew up in these households, if you're of a certain age, you had to shut up. Let me tell you, let's do this. Let me take you on a little journey about how a lot of us grew up in a certain era, right? This is going to make sense to most of y'all here because most of y'all are not 20. So we were in these households, and it's not every, but a lot of us grew up because this was the social conditioning. This was how our parents grew up, and then we grew up in households where we was told to be quiet, stay in a child's place. You don't have a voice. Do what I say. Your thoughts matter not. You need to become what I want you to become. You need to play the sports I want you to play. I don't care if you don't like football and you want to get on the computer. You're going to put that uniform on. Pay attention to where I'm going. It doesn't mean that you have horrible parents. They were only doing what was taught to them. However, when you have a child that does not have a voice, who cannot share their feelings, who cannot advocate for the things that they want and need, they will seek it out in other people, right? And so what happens is what's running in the background, right? Pay attention as we go in there. You have no voice. You can't share your feelings. Society around you says, and this is in a certain era of time. It's definitely not 2024. Jesus. All you saw and heard was songs about love, getting together, being together forever. You saw movies that showed people meeting each other and going through stuff and working it out and riding off into the sunset. And we had a lot of romantic comedies and stuff that just pushed us in a direction, right? So by the time we got into relationships, we was real green. We wasn't checking for red flags. We wanted that love we heard in that music. We wanted to be able to share our feelings with somebody. We wanted to be able to be hugged and told I love you because we didn't get that at home. And we dove in the deep end of the pool with no swimming lessons, right? We didn't realize that the people that we were trying to fall in love with was coming in with their own childhood trauma. And they destroyed us. They changed that person that was so hopeful. And guess what we did? We left them and found another one. So now, the duality in how we were raised, the love that we saw around us in society, the social conditioning of you gotta have somebody. The family, every time you went to the family reunion, they was like, so when you gonna get a girlfriend? When you gonna get a boyfriend? When we gonna meet your friend? You had to have it, even if you wasn't ready for it. If you're a girl, right? Your girlfriend's like, who you talking to? If you're a guy, they like, man, you hit that yet? Like, how many phone numbers you got? You got to do it, whether you're ready or not. Right? And you, as a kid, would tell your parents, I'm not ready for that. I'm good. They be like, no, when you going, when you getting married? What you doing? Still not caring about your feelings. So you go get one anyway and crash. Because now your little girl and your little boy got to grab onto something. Got to do it. But wait. I have a mother wound. I have abandonment issues too. And they're pushing me out there to find somebody. So I have to find somebody that makes it feel good. And you end up with a narcissist. Because now you're a people pleaser. Ooh, I hope y'all catching this. You didn't even realize that you didn't have any more discernment left. You were never trained that way. You were trained to do, not think. Do what I say. Don't think. Get your degree. Don't think. But Mom, I want to be a hairstylist. Don't do it. Be a doctor. Now get. See, we don't realize what that does to us inside. When you date, you feel good before you think because you were trained to acquire, not plan. Breathe, y'all. I hope y'all. I hope y'all listening to me, cause this ain't on the notes. Then fast forward 20 years, 30 years. You don't even know who the hell you are because you've been trained to be a doer. But now you got kids. Now you got to function. We ain't worrying about thinking about boundaries and standards. We was trained to just have somebody, to marry somebody. Y'all been together this long, why y'all ain't married? We'll worry about the details later. And y'all that's been with narcissists, the whole family loved them. Why you gonna leave them? He seemed like such a good person. What's wrong with you? You should stay. Okay. The family and the friends rooting for this person. Because they did what narcissists do. They do the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde or Mrs. Hyde thing. Everybody else see the good. But there was a part of you that needed to be with somebody that had a little more control over you than you do. You didn't realize it until it was too late. Who in our childhood has more control over us than we do? Our parents. That's why a lot of us end up with narcissistic people, because they have control. we're trained to please a controlling parent. So the people pleasers and narcissists, they end up together. You know, I told myself that I was going to make these podcasts a little more lighthearted and fun for y'all, but y'all need to hear this stuff because we're not going to do no more train wrecks. I won't allow it, not on my watch. We're going to learn and we are going to become better and we're going to change the things we need to change because pay attention to this, right? Let me adjust my seat. Everything that I said up to this point, if you were to listen to our stories, you could predict the behavior. Isn't that crazy? You could predict how most of us would have turned out based on our childhood experiences. If somebody had a magnifying glass to look at the pieces. Isn't that weird? Like we're supposed to be these individual people that have our own, me, ain't nobody like me. Until you sit in a room full of hurt people and now everybody sound the same. Isn't that weird? We go through the same stuff. We deal with the same type of pains. And it's predictable. So pay attention to what I'm about to say. Because you go through your healing journey, please pay attention to what I'm about to say. And you learn the pieces. You can predict how you show up tomorrow. And if you know how you're going to show up because of the pieces that you put together in the puzzle, you can build effective boundaries around the things that you've learned, which means when you go outside, you won't let anyone disrupt what you've learned. You can't do it anymore because you know more now. But if you don't do the work, you will complain forever. You will get into situations that you never should have been off the first phone call with because that little kid is still running your life. It doesn't mean the little kid is bad. The little kid is hurt. So we gotta, it's gonna be all right. I got you now. Let me take over. Y'all ever seen any of these science fiction movies where they have like a parasite and it takes over the person's body and then the parasite, it can trade places with the human mind. Like the parasite can talk and then they be like, okay, you take over. Like, all right, now you can take over. And then the parasite, but if I want to control your body, I can make you do whatever I want you to do when I feel like it. But then there comes a point where the human host says no more. You're not running this. I'm taking, and then you can see the struggle. But eventually that person gets full control back. They become stronger than the parasite. Because it's my body, not yours. Ooh, I hope y'all caught that. Ooh, I hope y'all caught that. I'm not playing with y'all tonight. I hope y'all caught that. You are stronger than that little kid. But you got to do the work. You got to get in the coaching gym to get strong enough to say, not this time. I need you to chill and sit down on that couch in here and just relax. I got this. We learned some things now. We have boundaries now where we didn't have them. We have better standards and we have more discernment. So when we go outside, we're not afraid of what they're going to do to us because they can only do what I allow. And this healed version of me will not let anyone on this planet disturb my peace. I'm good here. We got to become this. And it's possible. There's some people listening to this show right now that have done it and are in the midst of their healing journey, and they are doing it. All the stuff you fear in relationships and dating, there's people doing it right now because they took ownership of their lives. Because they realize that every year is passing and healing isn't a New Year's resolution. It's a lifetime change. Y'all know when you get on one of these diets, how hard it is to stay on it? Because it's not just you'll lose some weight, but then that old you come back and be like, nah, I'm gonna go ahead and have a cheat day or two. 30. Damn, these desserts taste good. My sweet tooth came back. Then you gain the weight back. Because you did not stick to the plan. You did not make a habit change. You put a temporary Band-Aid on a bigger problem. So it doesn't mean if you make a mistake that you failed. It means you got to get back up because you still have a plan. See, most of us don't have a plan of what we're going to do to be better. What we do is we get sound bites off the internet and think that that's the healing. It's not. I keep telling y'all this every week. Them sound bites is going to feel real good. It's going to appease your sweet tooth, but it's not going to make you better. Because better means change. And change means repetition and consistency. And it's difficult. That's why when you come to your coach, you will hear me say, I know it's difficult, but you don't have to do it by yourself no more. Because now you have accountability built in. This is why New Year's resolutions don't work, because you don't hold yourself accountable. Because you're doing it by yourself. And that doesn't mean you can't do it by yourself, but look at your track record. That's why. Not because I said so. We got to make life changes, because nobody within earshot of me right now is young. Time is something different now. And we're wasting it on people that don't deserve our air. And that could be friends too. Some of y'all need to get rid of some of y'all friends too. Anyway, let me be quiet. Let me be quiet. But y'all got to think about this. This is why I always say the moniker here is stop rescheduling your healing. Don't listen to me. Look at your results. I don't have to convince you need to heal from stuff from your childhood. So what you waiting on? Because I'm like this. I know I ain't everybody's cup of tea, but you better go get it from somewhere. Now, I'm a relationship coach. If you don't care about being in a relationship, I'm not talking about you. Go off, sis. Have fun and live your life. But if you would like to potentially have a companion, a partner, a husband, a wife, or whatever you want to call it, y'all got 300 definitions of what your relationship status is now, then you're going to have to move different. And if you are the person that wants that, sitting at home and not talking to humans isn't the fix either. You don't get to resurrect yourself 5 years later and say, I'm ready. Because when you come to me, I'm going to ask you what you do in 5 years. Well, I just didn't date anybody, so I'm ready now. No, you're not. You're worse. Narcissists love fragile people. They're going to find you real fast. Yeah, family too. I wish I could talk about the family and friends on here, but I won't. Ooh, we'll be on here for 2 more hours. But a lot of us are just finding ourselves in our boundaries, and we 40, 50, 60. We just now figuring out we can say no. You know how, let me tell you the stronghold that some of our grandparents and parents had over us. We were scared of them in our 40s and 50s. Still scared to speak up. We're not talking about respect and disrespect. You couldn't even vocalize how you feel about something. And you 40, 45, 50. Still shook. That conditioning go deep, don't it? You couldn't even start a business until you was over 40, when you felt like you could tell your mama, you know what? I know I went to school for this, but this is my dream. We couldn't even do that until it ain't just me. It's people that I know personally that I graduated high school with that went off to become teachers and doctors and all that, and then they hit 45 and they was like, so now I can do what I really wanted to do when I was 18. What? I know one lady, she quit her job to become a hairstylist because she always wanted to be that. And she wanted to go to cosmetology school. And I know back then, you know, everybody was supposed to get their degree because that was the only way to be successful, whatever. But her dreams were crushed. I don't even know if we on topic anymore. But somebody needed to hear this tonight, damn it. We got to get up off of our butts, proverbially, and get up and start working on doing better so that we can show up better and get the things that we really want in relationships, dating, even in our regular everyday lives. We got to get some healing in us, because the things we went through, they love you long time. Them childhood wounds do not leave, y'all. If we don't start managing ourselves better, you can't delete them, but you can manage them. That's what this is about. When you get triggered, you like, wait, boundary. I already know where that comes. Nope. Kung Fu is strong now. You're not gonna. You're not. Not with the healing. I don't want to say heal the ED, but this more healed version of myself. We're not doing that. Life is going to look different to you. You won't even recognize how you move outside anymore. So let me do this quick commercial break, and then we're going to get out of here. I've created a brand new space on my website, which should be below me, relationshipgumbo.info. If you click on the first banner, it says Coach Derek's Healing Hub. When you get in there, you create a profile of I think it's just your email, and I think you got to create a password or whatever and put your name and your picture if you want to put a picture. Then you get in there, and It's a couple weeks old, so we're growing. There's discussion forums in there to talk about different topics. There's, as of, is it today or yesterday? I made up a free virtual gratitude journal so that you can kind of track your moods every day. We do free Q&As so that you guys can kind of check in and ask your questions on Zoom. There's a group chat in there. This is the free part. So I know if you listen to the podcast, if you go back, there was going to be a group coaching subscription, but I've nixed that. So what you guys need to stay tuned for is there are going to be paid boot camps and paid master classes that are going to give you a ton of value. So think, if you know about my workshops, which all of you should, they're more involved in the actual workshops. We're going to get to the actual processes and everything. So you're going to pay for that, but you'll have access to it forever. But I am constructing things so that you'll get these boot camps a minimum of once a month. And we're going to take this healing journey very seriously. You're going to see yourself in a way that you never have, and you will emerge. Because the 3 words that I am going by this year are heal, grow, and evolve. We're going to do all 3. And we don't have to do them alone. And we're going to do it as a family, as a group, as a community, because we all been through similar stuff. So let's do it together. You scared to be one-on-one with the coach? Let's do it as a group. You scared to be judged? Trust me. And this is no shade to anybody here. This group of people here, ain't none of us allowed to judge anybody based on what we've been through. So please, it is a safe space. That's why I did not create it on a social media platform. I designed it myself so that you guys would feel safe. So it's in its infancy stage, but keep rocking with your boy. I got some good things coming. I restructured the front page. If you're in there now, just swipe down and let it refresh, and it looks totally different now. The gratitude journal is there, and we're going to start doing some comfort zone challenges soon too. So that's also going to be free. See, if y'all paid attention to my talking points over the past month, the gratitude journal and the challenges was going to be part of over a paywall. You're going to get those now, and we're going to defer the payments to the boot camps, so that you guys. Anyway, I have my reasons. Let me. I want you guys to get value, so I have created more value in a way that hopefully most of you can digest, financially and through your ears and your brain and your heart. So on the other side of all the boot camps and stuff you're going to get, you're welcome, because y'all going to get a lot. Y'all already got a lot though. Like if I never did anything for the next 10 years, the existing library stands still. It stands on its own feet. But I'm going to give you even more than that. So if you haven't been to the workshops, go on the website and click workshop. Click all the buttons, y'all. You never know what you're going to find. It's a lot of stuff there. Some of y'all been listening to me for months and they never went to the website. And you're like, I don't understand. I don't know. Can we do a one-on-one? Can we? No, go to the website. You didn't even look, did you? You don't even know how I operate, do you? But can we do that? Nope. Go to the website first. You mean I got to click a button? Yeah, you got to click it to go. Yes. Y'all going to learn. Because I got my own boundaries. So, let's get out of here, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed. Well, I don't know about enjoyed on this one, but I hope y'all learned some things, heard some things, reaffirmed some things. And we're going to do this every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Relationship Gumbo podcast is back. I think we're about, 4, 5 episodes in now with this version of it. The old version had 130 something. Those are on YouTube too. If you scroll, if you go in, they still there, and they're still all valid as hell. But this new version is a little more healing focused. So y'all just keep coming back, man. It's going to be a lot of things. It ain't going to be cute all the time because we got to do this work. So we ain't talking about submitting and passport brothers and all this other stuff. We got to heal, man. All of that stuff is fluff. So let's get to the real work so we can go out here and not just change ourselves, but the people in your environment and in your life will see the change in you, and hopefully that will inspire them to do better too. So it's exponential growth. This is how we build community, y'all. So everybody in the comments, I appreciate you guys for hanging in with me or whatever. I see some of y'all, but I ain't got time to be going and scrolling. Save that Thursday. This Thursday, there is a Q&A. It's go to the Coach Derek's Healing Hub, Q&A, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Free Q&A again. Come in and listen if you want to. Come in and ask questions if you want to. And we get a lot of stuff off in there. So come this Thursday, Zoom, Coach Derek's Healing Hub. That's the only place you can get it. I'll probably put an advertisement up on one of the social medias that I care about to let people, the public, know that that's where they need to go, because I haven't done that before. And we're gonna talk like we normally do. So I don't, like I said, I don't do it on social media. I keep it in a container that's safe for you guys, so we don't do all of the extra troll stuff. So y'all have a good night. I will see you on Thursday. And possibly music therapy may return on Friday. We'll see. But you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, everybody wants good love, that's true, I know. Derrick Jones about to break it down with the relationship gumbo. Welcome to the podcast. Ain't no doubt we all need this, ayy, cause better relationships need better ingredients, ayy. So if you want better relations, it's about communication, finding love, staying together.